Hey viewers, welcome to African Tales by Affy. Please kindly click the subscribe button to get notified for more amazing stories. In the quiet village of Maba, a young boy named China lived with his mother, Nazo, and his twin sisters, Ika and Ike. Life had never been easy for them. After losing his father at a young age, China had to step up and become the man of the house. He worked tirelessly on local farms, earning just enough to put food on the table. One evening, as China returned home from the fields, his sisters ran up to him, their faces bright with excitement. "Brother China, did you bring us anything?" Ika asked, holding on to his arm. China smiled and ruffled her hair. "Ika, Ike, I brought you something better than food. I brought you a story." The twins clapped their hands in delight, and Nazo, standing by the fire, chuckled. "China, you always know how to make them happy. But don't forget, stories don't fill empty stomachs." China sighed, looking at his mother with determination. "Mama, I will work harder. One day, I will do more than just put food on our table. I will make sure we never have to struggle again." Despite his struggles, China never lost sight of his dreams. He wanted more than just to work in the fields. He wanted to build something for himself and his family. His opportunity came when Odogwu, a wealthy man in the village, noticed his hard work. One afternoon, as China was carrying heavy sacks of yam to the market, Odogwu called out to him. "China, come here." China wiped the sweat off his forehead and approached respectfully. "Yes, sir?" Odogwu studied him for a moment before speaking. "I have watched you. You are strong, hardworking, and honest. How would you like to work for me? I can teach you how to run a business." China's eyes widened in surprise. "Work for you?" He hesitated, thinking about his mother and sisters. Odogwu nodded. "Yes, but you must move to the city with me. There, you will learn things that will change your life." That night, China sat outside with his best friend, Yugo, under the bright moonlight. "Yugo, what do I do? If I leave, who will take care of my family?" Yugo placed a reassuring hand on his shoulder. "China, this is your chance. If you succeed, your family will never have to suffer again. Take it." China struggled with the decision, but deep down, he knew Yugo was right. He had to take the risk for a better future. The next morning, he spoke to his mother. "Mama, Odogwu has given me an opportunity to learn and grow. I have to go." Nazo's face was filled with worry, but she nodded. "I knew this day would come. Just promise me one thing, my son." "Anything, Mama." She took his hands in hers, her eyes shining with love. "Promise me that no matter where you go, you will never forget who you are. Stay humble, stay honest, and never let the city change your heart." China squeezed her hands. "I promise, Mama." With a heavy heart but a determined spirit, China packed his few belongings and left Maba for the first time. He didn't know what lay ahead, but he knew one thing for sure: he was going to make his family proud. China arrived in the bustling city with Odogwu, his eyes wide with wonder. The noise, The tall buildings and the endless stream of people made him feel small, but he reminded himself of his promise to his mother. This was his chance to change his family's future. Odogwu led him to a shop filled with bags of rice, beans, and spices. "This is where you will work," Odogwu said. "You will learn how to buy, sell, and manage money. If you work hard, you will succeed." China nodded eagerly. "I will not disappoint you, sir." Days turned into weeks, and China proved himself to be a fast learner. He woke up early, swept the shop, arranged the goods, and attended to customers with a bright smile. Soon, people began to recognize him as the hardworking boy from Maba. One evening, after closing the shop, Odogwu sat down with China. "You remind me of myself when I was young," he said. "If you keep this up, I will help you open your own shop one day." China's heart leaped with joy. "Thank you, sir. I will not let you down." However, the city was not without its temptations. China met many young men who spent their nights drinking, gambling, and wasting money. One of them, Jide, often tried to lure China into his ways. "China, why do you work so hard? Life is short. Come, let's enjoy ourselves," Jide said one night, handing him a bottle of palm wine. China shook his head. "I have a family to take care of. I cannot waste my money." Jide laughed. "Money will always come. If you don't enjoy it now, when will you?" China thought of his mother's words, "Stay humble, stay honest, and never let the city change your heart." He pushed the bottle away. "No, Jide. That life is not for me." As months passed, China saved his earnings, refusing to be distracted. One day, Odogwu called him aside. "China, you have proven yourself. It is time." China frowned. "Time for what, sir?" Odogwu smiled. "Time for you to open your own shop. You have worked hard, and I will give you the support you need. But remember, success is not just about making money. It is about wisdom." Tears of gratitude filled China's eyes. "Thank you, sir. I will make you proud." With Odogwu's help, China opened his shop in a busy part of the city. He sent money home regularly, making sure his mother and sisters never lacked anything. One evening, he received a letter from Yugo, his childhood friend. "China, we are all proud of you. Maba misses you, but I know you are doing great things. Don't forget us." China held the letter close to his heart. He had come a long way, but he would never forget his home. China's shop flourished, attracting customers from all corners of the city. He was known for his honesty, fair prices, and warm smile. Every evening, he counted his earnings, sent money home to Nezo, and wrote letters to Yugo, who cheered him on from Maba. One afternoon, as China arranged bags of rice, a young woman walked into his shop. She was tall, elegant, and her smile was as bright as the morning sun. "Good afternoon," she greeted. China looked up and felt his heart skip a beat. "Good afternoon, madam. How may I help you?" She laughed. "No need for madam. My name is Jola. I just moved to this area and heard you have the best goods in town. China smiled. You heard right. What would you like to buy? As Jola selected her items, she asked China many questions about his work and his life. He answered eagerly, finding her presence refreshing. From that day on, she became a regular customer, and soon, their friendship grew into something more. China found himself thinking about her constantly, and before long, he confessed his feelings. Jola, I want you to be my wife, China said one evening as they walked by the riverside. Jola giggled. Are you sure? You hardly know me. I know enough, China insisted. You are beautiful, smart, and kind. You make me happy. I want to build a future with you. Jola looked at him thoughtfully. I like you too, China. But marriage is not just about love. Can you take care of me? Can you give me the life I desire? China nodded without hesitation. I have worked hard to build a future. You will never lack anything. That night, China wrote a letter to his mother, Nazo, telling her about Jola and his desire to marry her. Days later, he received a reply, but instead of joy, the letter carried a warning. My son, be careful. A woman who asks about wealth before love may not have a pure heart. Look deeper before you decide. China frowned as he read the letter. Why was his mother worried? Jola was everything he wanted. Dismissing his mother's concerns, he continued to court Jola, spoiling her with gifts and fine things. He invited Hugo to the city to meet her, eager for his best friend's approval. When Hugo arrived, he observed Jola closely. She was charming, but something about her didn't sit well with him. Later that evening, he pulled China aside. My friend, are you sure about this woman? Hugo asked cautiously. China sighed. Not you too, Hugo. First my mother, now you? Why can't you be happy for me? I only ask because I see things you don't, Hugo said. She enjoys the gifts you give, but does she ever ask about your family? Does she care about your struggles? A good woman will love you for who you are, not what you have. China frowned. Jola loves me. That is all that matters. Hugo sighed, realizing his friend was blinded by love. Just be careful, China. Not all that glitters is gold. Despite the warnings, China went ahead with his plans to marry Jola. He believed he had found the love of his life. But deep inside, doubts began to creep in. Was his mother right? Was Hugo right? Only time would tell. China and Jola's wedding was a grand celebration. Friends and family gathered, music filled the air, and laughter echoed through the village. Nazo, though still uneasy about Jola, blessed their union, hoping her son had made the right choice. Hugo remained skeptical but chose to support his friend. At first, marriage seemed like a dream. Jola was affectionate and attentive, always smiling and doting on China. She kept their home in order, dressed beautifully, and walked with pride as the wife of a successful businessman. China felt lucky to have married such a wonderful woman. But soon, things began to change. One evening, China returned home to find Jola sitting idly, admiring her nails. The house was in disarray, and his sisters, Ik and Ike, looked tired from doing all the house chores. "Jola, is everything all right?" China asked, setting down his bag of goods. She glanced at him and yawned. "Yes, my love. I was too tired to cook today. Your sisters can handle it." China frowned. "Jola, they are still young. You should at least help them." Jola pouted. "China, I didn't marry you to become a housemaid. I married you to be cherished and taken care of. I deserve rest too." Ika and Ike exchanged worried glances. They had always been raised to believe that family worked together, but Jola seemed to have different ideas. Days turned into weeks, and Jola's attitude worsened. She refused to fetch water, complained about cooking, and spent most of her time dressing up and visiting wealthy women in the city. When China tried to talk to her, she dismissed his concerns with a wave of her hand. "My love, why should I suffer when you have money? Just hire a maid." China's heart ached. This was not the Jola he had fallen in love with. The Jola he had courted had been sweet and kind. Had he been blinded by her beauty? Was his mother right all along? One evening, as China sat outside with Hugo, he poured out his frustration. "My friend, I don't understand what's happening. Jola has changed. She does nothing at home, and she barely speaks to my mother and sisters." Hugo sighed. "China, we warned you. A woman who loves wealth more than family will always be like this." China held his head in his hands. "What do I do, Hugo? I love her." "Love is not enough, my friend," Hugo said. "You need a wife who respects you, not one who sees you as a bank." China felt torn. He wanted to believe that Jola would change, that the woman he had loved was still there. But deep down, he feared that he had made a terrible mistake. Later that night, he found his mother sitting outside, staring at the stars. He sat beside her, the weight of his worries heavy on his shoulders. "Nazo, I don't know what to do," he admitted. "Jola is not the woman I thought she was." Nazo sighed. "My son, love should not blind you to the truth. A good wife will build a home with you, not tear it apart." China nodded slowly, his heart heavy with regret. He realized that the love he had fought for was slipping through his fingers. As he lay in bed that night, he knew he had to find out the truth about Jola's love. He needed to know if she truly cared for him, or if she only cared for his wealth. China could no longer ignore the doubts in his heart. He needed to know if Jola truly loved him or if she was only with him for his wealth. After discussing with Hugo, they came up with a plan to test Jola's loyalty. The next morning, China returned home with a troubled expression, his clothes disheveled and his face full of worry. Jola, who was busy admiring herself in a mirror, barely noticed him at first. "My love," he said with a heavy sigh, sitting down. "Something terrible has happened." Jola finally looked up, her brows furrowed. "What is it, China?" "There was a fire in my shop," China lied, his voice shaking. "I lost everything. I have no money left." Jola's eyes widened. What? How could this happen? I don't know, he said, lowering his head. I will have to start from scratch. Jola remained silent for a moment, then abruptly stood up. So, you mean to say you are broke? China nodded, carefully watching her reaction. Jola scoffed. And what do you expect me to do? Stay here and suffer with you? China, I didn't marry you to live in poverty. I deserve better. China's heart sank. Jola, we are husband and wife. We should support each other in times of trouble. Jola laughed bitterly. Support you? With what? I'm not going to waste my life struggling when I can find someone who will take care of me properly. With that, she packed her belongings and stormed out, leaving China in stunned silence. The woman he had sacrificed so much for had abandoned him at his lowest point. Hugo entered moments later, having heard everything from outside. Now you see the truth, my friend. China let out a long sigh, his chest heavy with sorrow. I was blind, Hugo. I ignored all the warnings. My mother, my sisters, even you all tried to tell me. Hugo placed a hand on his shoulder. It is a painful lesson, but at least now you know. Jola was never the right woman for you. That evening, China went to his mother, feeling ashamed. He knelt before her. Nazo, I have failed you. I should have listened. Nazo lifted his chin gently. My son, you have not failed. You have learned. And sometimes, lessons come with pain. Ika and Ike hugged their brother tightly. We're happy you're back, China, Ika whispered. China smiled for the first time in days. He realized that wealth could be lost, but family was forever. Months passed, and China rebuilt his shop with the support of Hugo and his family. He focused on his business, growing wiser from his experience. Jola, on the other hand, moved to the city, chasing wealth and luxury. But word eventually reached China that she had been deceived by another wealthy man who abandoned her when she had nothing left. One day, as China walked through the market, he saw a familiar figure sitting by the roadside, Jola, looking frail and defeated. Their eyes met, and she lowered her head in shame. China felt no anger, only pity. He had moved on. His heart no longer belonged to Jola, and he no longer sought revenge. He simply nodded at her and walked away, knowing he had finally found peace. The story of China and Jola became a lesson in Maba, teaching young men and women about the importance of true love and character over wealth and beauty. And as China stood in his thriving shop, surrounded by his loving family, he knew he had made the right choice in returning to those who truly cared for him. Moral lessons. China learned the hard way that love based on material things is not real love. Jola was more interested in his wealth than in building a life with him. This teaches that genuine love is rooted in trust, respect, and companionship, not money or luxury. Always listen to wise counsel. China ignored the warnings from his mother, Hugo, and even his sisters because he was blinded by love. If he had listened, he could have avoided heartbreak. This teaches the importance of heeding advice from those who truly care for us. Hard work and honesty lead to true success. China became successful because of his dedication, honesty, and hard work. Despite facing betrayal, he rebuilt his life and thrived again. This teaches that success is not just about wealth, it comes from diligence, integrity, and perseverance. Not all that glitters is gold. Jola appeared to be a perfect wife, beautiful and charming, but her true nature was revealed when wealth disappeared. This teaches that appearances can be deceiving, and it's important to look beyond surface beauty when making life choices. Forgiveness and moving on bring peace. Instead of seeking revenge, China chose to walk away from Jola when he saw her downfall. He had learned his lesson and found peace by focusing on his family and business. This teaches that holding on to anger only harms us, while forgiveness and moving forward lead to true happiness. The end. Hello tribe, hope we enjoyed today's story. Please kindly put what you've learned in the comments section. Please remember to hit the like button, share this to your friends and family, as well as subscribe to see you on the next one. Bye.